Look at you, stuck in the web of procrastination and lacking discipline. It's time to admit that you've been avoiding responsibilities and it's holding you back. Stop sugarcoating your failures with these flimsy excuses. You know very well that laziness and distractions have been ruling your life. You've become complacent with mediocrity, choosing comfort over growth. Well, guess what? Real change demands discomfort, and you must embrace it. Recognize your lack of discipline has cost you precious opportunities. The time wasted cannot be recovered, but you can make amends starting right now. Deep down, you know you have untapped potential. It's time to unleash it and stop hiding behind your procrastination as an excuse. Procrastination is often the result of fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown. It's time to confront these fears and break free. Sure, discipline might seem like a foreign concept to you right now, but it takes time to face the music and make discipline your new best friend. You've been avoiding accountability, but it's time to take responsibility for your actions. Hold yourself accountable for your progress, or the lack thereof. Feel the weight of regret for all the time wasted and opportunities missed. Let it fuel your determination to change and make the most of every moment moving forward. Change won't happen overnight, and it won't be easy. But you're not looking for easy. You are looking for growth. Embrace the process, and you'll come out stronger. Oh, look at you, drowning in a sea of indecision and inaction. Your inability to make choices or stick to a plan is pathetic. Stop trying to cover up your laziness with those pathetic excuses. Nobody buys them, not even yourself. Just think about all the potential you've wasted by wallowing in your lack of discipline. It's truly, truly sickening. You're nothing more than a slave to comfort and instant gratification. You can't even withstand the slightest bit of discomfort to achieve your goals. Your willpower is laughable, and your mind is even weaker. It's time to toughen up, Buttercup, and take control. While you're busy procrastinating, the world just keeps moving forward. Your lack of discipline is causing you to fall way behind. You've become a master of self-sabotage, always finding ways to hinder your progress. It's time to break free from this vicious cycle. Congratulations, you've built a cozy nest in the land of mediocrity. How does it feel to be just average? Or maybe below average? Way below average. You don't need coddling. You need a reality check. Stop babying yourself and face the truth. You are weak. Enough is enough. Rise from the ashes of your weaknesses and become the disciplined, proactive force you know that you can be. Or don't, and stay exactly as you are.
You might think the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I am so happy to be back as well. This is Tech Coach Ralph, and we have a Q&A session tonight where we are always engineered to win. So it has been over a week since I haven't live streamed, and I missed it dearly. So we are going to get into it tonight. Let me I gotta fix a little bit of things, so give me a second while I troubleshoot some things. I had everything unplugged while I was away and trying this new setup. So just bear with me as I get things situated, and we will get on our way. That's what I get for unplugging everything. Now trying to get everything back up and running. Let me see here. Let's see if we can get this. I don't want to do it that way. All right, first things first, let's do this here. Copy that. And that. Well, that part is not working again. So, not sure if I'll be able to show messages on the screen tonight, but we will figure it out as we go along. No hard feelings there. And the other thing, why are my sounds not working? Let's figure this out. Let me see. See, we're always doing QA one way or the other. Make sure my sound is working. Yep. Oh, sound is good. And let me see. Make sure we're on the right Wi-Fi. We are. It's going to be really, really difficult if we... I guess I can do it the other way. Give me a second. Not my preferred way to do this, but we can do it. Let's see if this is going to work. Let's see. I guess that worked. So, not the way I want to do it, but, we will have to figure it out, and then I can do some more troubleshooting later on. but you know, it is what it is at the moment. We will use what we have. All right, so let's do this. All right, now next thing to bring up, we go to here. All right, so let's get started. Enough time has been wasted. What's going on with my camera? All right. All right, cool. So, first and foremost, am I freezing? Let me see what's going on here. Yeah, I feel like I'm freezing. Let me see. Close this out. All right. We're good. So, first and foremost, I would like to thank the test lead for interviewing me last week, and he released it on Sunday, and that was very fun. I had a great time, and he is an awesome person, very kind, and so it was great for those who subscribed to my channel from that interview. I am so happy to have you here. So thank you so much, the test lead, for that opportunity to be interviewed and to talk to your platform. So that was great. So shout out to the test lead. All right. Next, I would like to thank all of the newest subscribers. I haven't been live streaming since I didn't live stream. My last live stream wasn't last Thursday, but the Thursday before that. Right. So I wasn't with you. So all of the latest subscribers, I just want to go through and thank every one of you. We have grown significantly, but some names that I want to highlight while we're here is, let's try this. Hopefully this works. Things have not been working today for me. I appreciate you. Shout out to Lewis. I know him personally. Awesome, amazing QA engineer. So happy to have you here, Lewis. I appreciate you. Spiffy Slippers, welcome to the channel. I also know her personally. Awesome person. Welcome to the channel. Move this down a bit. And then we have DC Johnson. Welcome to the channel, DC. Happy to have you here. I appreciate we got Rosalind777. Happy to have you here. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate we have Rosalind again. This thing needs to speed up a little bit. All right, hold on. We're almost there. We got a bunch of new subscribers. We got Torty666. Welcome to the channel. Happy to have you here. Looking to add value in everybody's life. I appreciate you. And then next up we have I appreciate you. Corey Daniels. Welcome to the channel. Great to have you here. I appreciate you. All right, so this thing's going all out of order. But, I think we just got someone who signed up. So, DJ, welcome. Corey Daniels, welcome as well. I appreciate you. Alexa Franklin, welcome to the channel. Hopefully, I can add great value to all of your lives. And last but certainly not least, I appreciate you. Your Unvious. Welcome to the channel. Hope to add great value to all of your lives. Oh, awesome. DJ, thank you for subscribing to the channel and for adding to the Discord. It's going to be amazing to work with you and talk to you. So that is all of the latest subscribers since I've been out. It was quite a bit with just the work doing last week and everyone who came in from the Test Leads channel. Great to have you here. Hopefully I can add great value into your lives. So next up on our agenda before we get into the show. So before that, shout out to all the new subscribers. And that's not working, so we have to do it the other way. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. And the next up is, what is our live show schedule? So we go live on Tuesday nights where we're doing Q&A sessions, different questions in the chat, different questions that I've sourced around the web that I think it's going to be very useful to everyone here. And then we have our Thursday nights where we have we do software explorations. Right now we're doing a more entry-level QA type work where we're going to, so recently we did test cases. We installed Kiwi test case management system. This coming Thursday, we are going to be working on defects and test executions. So look out for that this Thursday, 7:15. And then we have our Sundays where we also do software explorations. I'm still working on the topic for this coming Sunday. It might be, I'm leaning towards going to getting your automated test to update Kiwi. So we're going to look into that. So many live shows happening, so much content being released. So definitely check out for that. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know when I go live, and you can follow along, ask me questions. Any questions that you have, let me know and we'll work on that. So Sundays, software explorations. Tuesdays, Q&A session. Thursdays, software explorations. So tune in for that. Our pre-recorded content. We have Mondays, Candid Conversations. We have Wednesdays, software explorations and guides. I have tomorrow I am going to be releasing about test executions and how that plays into the software development lifecycle. Last week we had reporting defects. Before that we had test cases and test plans and scenarios. So much useful information, especially if you're on the entry level. Looking to start off, you might have went through a boot camp and you just need some more information. I got you, all right? All this information is for you so you can continue to improve, continue to get better, so you can land that job. But maybe you're already working and you want to move up. That's what I'm going to be using the Sundays for like more advanced concepts, how to move up, getting your automation even better, looking into DevOps type stuff. So look out for that. Mondays, Candid Conversations. Wednesdays, software explorations and guides. That is more of a concept and overview. Fridays, the Bug Bite, where we share different software related industry bugs and how that affected the companies and how it affected the users. The one that we recently released was Sony BMG rootkit from like 2005, where they were infecting our computers, allowing us to get hacked. So check that out. So much content. And then throughout the week, we have clips of these Q&A sessions that are being released, just different content all the time. So I'm just releasing everything just for you so you can stay informed and you can level up. All right. So shout out to that. And oh my God, I can't believe my soundboard isn't working, but this way. So great. So that is our live stream schedule and our pre-recorded content schedule. And if you haven't done so, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, and we will go from there. All right, let me pull up our Q&A. So let me put up the timer on the screen if I can. Oh my goodness, I am so unhappy that this thing isn't working right now. I will have to fix that right after the show. Where is that thing? All right, let's do this. I need these two. Oh, I could do this like that. That certainly works for me. All right, cool. So let's do that. So the format's going to go, we are going to put 5 minutes on the clock. And on those 5 minutes, we're going to read the question, answer the question, and then we will move on. So when the timer runs out, we are going to hear... I don't even see it. Man, this is so crazy. Let me try to fix this. So when the time runs out, we're going to hear this. And we will start wrapping it up and move on to the next question. All right. So where are my questions? There they go. All right, so we are ready to get started. Let's put our timer on the board. All right, and we will set for 5 minutes. All right, so let's get started.
Another one.
All right, well, before we get started, I just wanted to talk to this point for a little bit, right? I've met so many people in the past week or so, and a lot of them are very entry level. I've been reviewing some resumes and all that. And I released a video about the resumes maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I see this especially through so with entry level resumes, I see that like the problem is you might have did a boot camp. You don't really have much to put on your resume as a you don't really have much to put on your resume because like you're entry level, like you haven't actually worked in a company yet. But my biggest advice to you at this point is there's QA involved in everything that we do, right? Find a way in your previous positions that you can actually list like some of the QA that you did, even if it's not official QA. Like try to word it in a way that you show that you have the QA mindset, and even and now that you went through your either whether it's your Udemy course or your Coursera course or a boot camp, that now you just have the formal education and formal knowledge of QA, but that you were exercising QA in all of the things that you did, regardless of what it is. You know, like you just have to. The key about your resume is making it, making whoever's reviewing it want to talk to you, making it past the resume algorithm scanners and stuff like that. You want to get them to see your resume and say, okay, I want to learn more about this person. I asked this question in, I think it was a short not too long ago. Would you, like, if you were reviewing resumes and you came across yours, would you want to talk to you, right? So you need to make it very attractive. So like, some of the nicest resumes that I've seen, they haven't even been like that very technical. One has been somebody who was in marketing for about 20 years, and another one was someone who was recently an English teacher. And those were like very nice resumes. Gave them some pointers on how to make it even nicer. But those were the resumes that I'm like, oh, I wouldn't mind talking to this person to find out more about them. All right. And now on the other end, let's say you have been in the tech industry for a while. It's don't like tech resumes, they get a bit redundant. Even in your own resume, when you're listing the different positions that you've had, even that gets a bit redundant. Like you start listing the same thing over and over and over because technically, like for instance, like if it's a QA resume, or let's say it's a full stack developer resume, if you've done that at different companies, you start repeating the same things over and over and over again. Like I said in the video, you want to show the value that you bring in each position that you had, and you state in your objective, this is the value that I intend to bring to your company. Use metrics, use accomplishments, use goals, all of that, and that is going to help your resume stand out. Don't be one of those boring resumes that's just like, as I read it, I'm like, all right, next. Make me want to talk to you. All right. So, like I said, when you read your resume, if you were interviewing for that position, would you want to talk to yourself? Keep that in mind. All right. So, just wanted to get that out of the way because so many people that I've spoken to, whether they're experienced or they are new in the industry, it's like so many people is going after the same job. There's so much competition out there. You want to make yourself stand out. That is the most important thing. Make yourself stand out, and now you increase your chances. There's nothing guaranteed, right? But you increase your chances of landing that position. So if you need some assistance, if you need some help, email me and we can talk. And I'm working on something that will allow me to be able to help more people on a larger scale, and as well as some like scheduling some individual one-on-one time with people. So I'm trying to streamline that. It's not easy, like managing it one by one. So I'm trying to streamline that so we can get something going. So look out for that. It should be coming out in the next few weeks, hopefully. So look out for that. But like very important, the very first step is getting your right resume. But the second step as well is continuing to learn, continuing to level up, being able to share what it is that you are that you're doing, how you're improving yourself. So that way, the people that you speak to, they're like, okay, yeah, this person has ambition. This one, they have potential. Even if they're not exactly where we want them to be yet, we see that they're going to get there because they are dedicated to learning. All right. So keep that in mind, and we can go from there. All right. Let me check the chat before we start on our first question. All right, so DJ, all right, so let's see. I wish I could put it on the screen, but I cannot right now, but next time, trust me, it'll be working. It says, I'm trying to enter into cloud security. I'm currently doing the free ISC2 course and enjoy it so far. I was wondering what route I should go to get into this field. So I can't give you like an exact answer. I can give you a general answer about this. So because I'm not in cloud security, I'm in QA. So the way that I would answer it if I was going into QA, right? So first thing, I don't know if you've done this already, DJ, and you can respond in the chat, right? Have you done any research into the jobs descriptions of cloud security? What are they requiring, right? What type of so although it's not 100% necessary to have a particular degree, you can do it through like online learning, self-learning, boot camps and stuff like that. But you need to know what is it that these positions that you want, like first of all, what is a position that you want to start off with, right? What is a position you want to start off with? What is it that they require? And then you can say, okay, so these are the skills that I need to acquire, and even while you're acquiring, you can be applying for those positions, but you just have to make sure that you are acquiring the skills that they're asking for. And then I would say now, what are the ways to get into it is I'll look at the companies that are hiring, and I'll start applying for those positions, right? Like as soon as you get the necessary information that they say that you would need to get that position. But the problem is, if you don't have any experience, it's going to be a bit harder. I was just talking to someone earlier today, right, on a call, and I said to them, all right, so you don't have any particular experience in QA, but is it possible to start at a lower level in a company in tech, but in a lower level, so you can get your foot in the door and start getting that experience. And then like in those companies, as they start having like more opportunities, once you get into a company and they know you, it is easier to move up within the company than to just go in straight, if like without experience, right? If you have experience, it's a little bit easier, but when you have experience, you're going for these higher positions as well. What I would say is when you're looking to get into a field, especially like I think you said somewhat. I have no IT experience, by the way. I'm prior law enforcement and currently a trucker. All right, so good point, right? So this goes exactly what I'm saying. You might have the information, but you don't have the experience. You don't have the hands-on experience here, right? So the person I was speaking to, I was all right. Maybe if you enter into a tech company at like a help desk level, for instance, right? Then because help desk to me, because when I started in technical support. To me, that is very similar to QA because you're helping people troubleshoot issues. You are investigating, and I think that is what made me a much better QA engineer as well, right? Because of that investigative mindset that I acquired when I was doing technical support. So if you enter like starting at a lower level, right, you get your foot in the door, and now with your foot in the door, you can see other positions that they have, and you can continue learning. You can get familiar with so let's say you enter a company, right? So specifically for you, DJ, let's say you enter a company, and they have you don't have any experience, but you are there are you said so there are people who work in like the cybersecurity, cloud security, things like that. You can start networking with those people, right? Because it's a lot easier inside the company, and you can like you can shadow them, whatever it takes. You're gonna have to put in some extra work, but whatever it takes, and that way now when they have a position open, they can say, "Oh yeah, DJ, like he's been very interested in this. I've seen the work that he's done. He's been shadowing me, and I think we should interview him to give him an opportunity, because and that way they can open positions for you. They can make positions that they might have gave it to a higher level. They can give it to you. So that's my general advice on how you can get into the industry. Like I was telling the person earlier, you would end up going through the back door of the company instead of just like walking straight to the front. Here's my resume that doesn't have any experience. So I don't really have anything to list, right? So let me know if that makes sense. But yeah, that's how I would say, like, without any tech experience, and you're learning the stuff, but the problem is you don't really have much hands-on practical experience yet. So that's one way. I would also say to continue working on projects. Like I'm a very big person on working on projects where like you can go into AWS, do some type of configurations, working on like the security groups and like whatever it is in the course that you're working on. Just keep practicing so you can have something to show. Try building a portfolio. All of those things are going to go a long way. But I would say, like, while you're applying for those particular positions, also to try to get in at a lower level so you can work your way up within that company, because it is, like, I'll tell you this, like, from the conversations that I've been having, it is really, really hard right now for people to get in at an entry level. It's like entry level means 3 to 5 years now. It used to mean like 0 to 3 years. Now it feels like it means 3 to 5 years. And I kind of feel bad for that, because I know that a lot of people, they are they go into these courses and these boot camps, and they say, you can get a job doing manual testing. But then once they're finished and everything, they pay that egregious amount of money, and it's like, I can't really find a job, and I don't even see these positions that these boot camps are telling me available. So that's one of the gaps I'm trying to fill, is helping everyone here to to be more job ready. So helping on how to work within a team, how to work on personal projects that you can showcase during interviews. All of that stuff, right? So just trying to fill a gap that I see that is happening. All right. So shout out to you, DJ. Hopefully that helped a lot. And always feel free to email me, get in contact with me, and I can talk to you some more. All right. All right. So let's keep going. So I got my makeshift soundboard here. And when I look over that way, that's what I'm looking at. When I'm here, I'm looking at you. All right, so let's do that again.
Another one.
All right, first question is, it reads, "Hi, I am looking for some courses to expand my capabilities as a manual QA. First, is it wasted effort not to switch to automation? I really prefer to keep doing manual testing. If not, can you recommend any intermediate level courses I should take?" All right. So let's start our timer. All right. So for this question, it feels like every week some variation of this question comes up about like, I really enjoy manual QA. So I'm going to put it like this. It doesn't really matter what you enjoy. It matters what you're going to get a job in, right? And if anyone has seen our live streams where we're doing software explorations, and during the breaks, I'll go and I'll look for jobs. When I look for manual testing jobs, what do we find? What do we find when we look for manual testing jobs? Absolutely nothing. Now, does that mean that there's no manual testing jobs whatsoever? Absolutely not. Of course, there's manual testing jobs. It's just it is hard to come across them, because if you have people graduating from a boot camp from a different boot camp, and there's like thousands of boot camps out there, they graduate or they're doing like Udemy courses, right? And they are stopping at the manual. So let's say you have 1,000 people who have either graduated from a boot camp, finished a Udemy course for manual testing, but there's only 10% or there's only 10 manual QA jobs available. And most likely, I'm going to say this, I would say if there is a manual testing job in the United States, it is most likely going to be on site, right? And now if it's on site, you better hope that manual QA job is in a location that is close to you, right? But I'm going to tell you this, for the most part, you're going to find these manual QA jobs in another location, right? Another location. Where is that? Not another location, but another country, right? Because as everyone that I spoke to, manual QA is so easy. Manual QA is so easy. Of course, if it's so easy, then they're going to outsource it and give the more complicated jobs to in-house, where we can better work together and better monitor it. The easy jobs, they usually get outsourced, right? That's why they're easy. They don't want to pay that much for an easy job. So you have to level up. All right. So to your question, I think manual testing only goes a certain extent, because even when you do automation, there's still tons of manual testing that's involved. All automation is writing code to test what you manually tested in the first place, right? But in order to get that automated test, you still need to go through the site manually, make sure that it's working. You still need to write your test cases. You still need to come up with a test plan. You still need your test scenarios, the whole process, right? Like, you still need to report defects, all of that stuff. That is still very manual. So to me, after you have the general knowledge of manual testing, it all comes down to how well you're able to think critically, how well you're able to investigate. But if you put someone who only does manual testing next to someone who does manual testing and they know how to do automation testing, even if they're not that great at automation testing yet, right? But the fact that they can do some type of automating testing, that puts them way above the one who's only going to do manual testing, even if you like matter what you like. It matters what's going to get you hired and what is going to pay. So if you get a manual testing job, the pay is going to be much lower, right? So for courses that will allow you to level up, I'm a big fan of Udemy courses. Although I'm working on getting my affiliate link because I'm always recommending the Udemy courses, but I don't have an affiliate link for that. But that's neither here nor there. What I'm going to say is, I think that the Udemy courses are very good, especially like the ones that also have a Discord. Like I like their full stack web development course, and they're like they have a bunch of courses that offer a Discord that you can collaborate with other people who are going in the same direction that you are. So, but yeah, I would say, but even if it doesn't have a Discord or something like that, you can always ask questions in the program, and you always have Tech Coach Ralph here to help you out. So always, you can reach out to me and we can go from there. All right. All right. So that is that question. That was amazing. Next question. All right. Might as well put this away because that's not working. All right. So.
Another one.
All right. Next question. It's these days. I have 15 years of experience with test automation and script management. Yet, all the positions I see for QA lead and even just QA engineer positions either get filled immediately or they just never respond. Is anybody else experiencing the same thing? Well. Great that you ask. So, I see a lot of companies hiring for QA. The problem from the problems that I've seen, like a lot of people who send me their resumes, is a lot of times the resumes are not updated properly. They're super technical. They don't show what value you bring. It just shows that that you know what to do. Like, it shows that you know how to do what everyone else who's a QA engineer knows how to do. The only difference that you might have is that you've been doing it longer than the next person. But that doesn't say much, because if you've been doing it for that long, right, I would want to see your accomplishments on your resume, right? I'd want to see some cool things that you did, some major bug that you caught, some major bugs, some cost saving initiatives, how you work within the team, like just different dynamics, instead of just saying the same old that every other resume does. Because the one that I'm going to look at is the one that is pretty intriguing. Now, the question is anybody hiring? Like I said, I see tons of places hiring. But another problem that happens is with the rise of remote work, you have thousands of people applying for the same job. Generally, there's not that many QA engineers on a team. There might be about 3 to 4 devs to 1 QA engineer. And so it's like they only need like one position filled, and we have these thousands and thousands of people who are hiring for it, right? So what do you do? What I always I'll tell you this: I do not prefer to work in the office, but if I had to, I certainly would, right? I built this nice office here. I get to work from here, and everything it's cozy. My kitchen is like 5 steps away. So what I'm saying is, but you have to do what you have to do, especially if you're trying to find a new job or if you're trying to enter the market. You can't like if they tell you that you're going to enter, like you're going to learn how to do QA, and as a manual tester you're going to end up getting a remote job within like 2 months. That is not true. All right. what happens is you have to like, especially based on the market that you're in, right? So you have to navigate wisely. Let me see, what else did this? Oh, I didn't put my timer. Oh my God, this thing is such a mess. We'll start it now. All right. So what else? So yeah, all the positions that you see for QA lead or even just QA either get filled immediately or just never respond. So yeah, like I said, it might be a resume that is not up to speed and you might need some work on your resume. Especially if it's like one of those traditional QA resumes. And especially like for a lot of times companies look from within, like they might have to post a job externally, but they look for within for like when moving up people up the ladder. And then if they just can't find somebody within the company, then they'll look outwards. But I'll tell you this, somebody that I know personally, he was laid off not too long ago, and by not too long ago I mean like a week or two ago, and now he has a bunch of interviews lined up already, right? I don't know how he was able to get that, but I'll tell you this, when I was looking at the beginning of the year, once like I really started looking deep in January, and I started I applied for a lot, but I started getting some traction, and that worked out very well. But it depends on it depends on, again, your resume. What are you doing to level up? What are your skills? Because you might be in automation, but what are your skills? All right. So always getting your skills up to speed, and yeah. So that's the situation that we find ourselves in. Nothing's going to be given to you. You have to show the value, like in everything that you do. I can't stress this enough. In everything that you do, you have to show the value that you bring. As you add value, then it'll be reciprocated to you, right? Look to add value first. And once you add value, and that's a big thing for me, right? I'm always looking to add value in every person that I come in contact with. To all the subscribers, I want to add value into your lives. To the people that I work with one-on-one, I want to add value into your lives. And like when I review resumes, right? My goal is this resume review that I'm doing, it's to add value into the person's life. And that value is to try to help them get to the next level of their career. If they're trying to transition, help them transition, all of that, right? So companies are hiring. It's a bit tougher because with the demand of people wanting to work remote jobs, and with the amount of people applying for it, one question I would ask is, are you applying locally? All right. It just depends. And Tyru says, is this field more recession really AI proof than software engineering? I would say, and when you say field, I guess you're referring to the QA field, right? I would say, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say I don't think it is. All right. In a way it is. In a way it's not. Right. It just depends on the company structure, because on a team, if you have like 4 or 5 developers and you have one QA, it'll be really tough to just get rid of that QA and keep the 4 or 5 developers, or just getting like, even if you get rid of a QA, or you get rid of a developer, you still have like 3 to 4 left, versus if you get rid of a QA, you have none. Now, can you try to transition a developer to QA? It's possible, but it's most likely going to be a disaster, because a lot of developers they don't have that QA background, that QA training. So, but in the grand scheme of things, they're most likely to choose. They're like, I would say that the QA field is not more recession proof than the software engineering. Now, if you're referring to AI for QA, I'm not, from like when I did the live stream on the concepts, I wasn't really too impressed by the type of AI that it was creating. And what I mentioned about AI not too long ago is that if you're not well versed in what you're putting into the AI, then you're not going to get the right information out. Right? So it can give you tons of information, but it's how do you apply that information that AI is giving to you? AI is just a tool, but if we don't know how to use that tool properly, then it's really gonna mess us up. AI is not going to be finding defects for you and stuff like that. That it might help you like writing your defect reports, what to test and stuff like that. But as far as AI replacing QA, I don't think that's gonna happen, right? So yeah, so that's how I see that one. All right. So let me end that. And shout out to you, Tyru, for that amazing question. All right. So DJ asks, any opinions on course careers and or good boot camps that are suggested by others? Are you referring, so DJ, are you referring particularly to like the cloud security or in general for like tech in general? Let me know and then I'll answer that. But I might not be able to specifically give you for cloud security, but I would always recommend like a Udemy course. And I mean, like we could always mine that out. But so just let me know exactly what you're referring to and we'll go from there. All right, so we are going to our next one.
Another one.
All right, so this one says, if you are currently unemployed and job searching for days, is it by cleaning the house with episodes of overwhelming guilt and mental breakdowns like me? Or are you doing okay, doing side jobs? I've been searching for about 6 months, applying daily, and feel more hopeless all the time, living off quickly dwindling savings. The guilt part, quitting my job, unaware of how awful the job market is. Just need some discussion to get through this. All right, let us put that on the clock. Okay, so we'll do that. All right, so I could share from personal experience about this one, right? So, well, I didn't quit my job, but like something happened with the company that we're at, and so they ended up closing. So pretty much all of us got almost everyone at the company got like a backwards layoff. It wasn't like a layoff, but they closed, so we didn't have a job anymore, right? So what I'm going to say is I'm going to focus more on the how I spent my days when I was looking. So I became very, very strict with myself when I was looking for employment. I used my calendar, my Google Calendar, religiously, right? I had I chose a few courses to work on while I wasn't working, and so it's like I wasn't working for an actual company, but I was working on bettering myself, right? So what does that mean? I had I was doing a machine learning course. I was working on a Python course. Any other courses I was working on? I was working on like an automation framework, and I would schedule times of the day for each of them. I would, and any interview that I would get, I would schedule those interviews on my calendar. I would plan ahead of time, like interview prep, working on my resume, enhancing it, refining it. It was just I created a job for myself so I could stay busy and I can stay learning, so I can continuously add like what I'm going to talk about in interviews. I was applying. I scheduled time to apply for jobs, right? So I would have a list of jobs that I was applying for, and created a spreadsheet, and I'll probably share that one day, right? Like the spreadsheet that I created, how I went about when I was looking for a job, how I went about applying for jobs, and working with the recruiters, because I'll tell you this, like working with recruiters is very important when you're looking for a job. You can't be really picky if you're trying to get into the field, right? So it might not be the most optimal situation, but the most important thing is getting that experience. If you could, you just don't understand how important the experience is. Well, I think you guys understand now, because all the courses that you took, all the boot camps that you did, and you see that it's still very hard to get into the field. You need to get that experience. So trying to find that experience by any means necessary. So I spent all the time preparing and getting better. And that was mainly it. Like you have to use your calendar religiously when you are not working and you're trying to land a new position. Super, super important. I can't stress that enough. So, let me see. Let me look at the question again. But I never felt guilt. I never felt down. But something that I think is important, right, is developing that warrior mindset. And one thing that I like with any like interview rejection or resume rejection, I was like, cool, that's your loss, right? I never felt down or anything like that, because what I always tell anyone that I work with, right, and what I'm telling you guys, in whatever you do, believe that you're the best at it, right? I believe, and I told this to the test lead in our interview, right? I believe that I'm the best QA engineer to ever walk the face of this earth. But I also told them, I want you to believe that you're the best one as well, because that confidence that you have, that's gonna propel you. That's gonna make you work hard, right? I don't believe there's any time to sit around and mope and wish things were different. Wishing never got us anything. So I say, whatever you want, you have to go out there and take it. You have to work hard for it, and you need to put in the work. Like I always tell people, like, stop complaining, get to work, right? Complaining doesn't get you anywhere. It actually delays you, and it saddens you and everything like that. So you quit your job. Maybe it wasn't the smartest thing to do, but now that you are feeling down and everything with the guilt and the mental breakdowns, where is that getting you? All right. And if you quit your job, you probably don't have like health insurance anymore to help deal with the mental breakdowns and the depression and stuff like that. So what do? We need to break out of that. We need to get to work. We need to build a strategy. We need to build a plan. And we have to say, all right, I'm going to go and I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to do it. So to anyone out there who feels that they are down, they're depressed, we're not going to, I can't offer you therapy, but I can offer you a plan, and I can work with you so we can turn that around, so we can get our resumes up, we can get our skills up, so we can defeat our competition and land that job that is for us. All right. So shout out to that. All right. So DJ says, in general, any opinions on course, careers, or good boot camps that are suggested by others? So honestly, like, I like the, I'm big into, like software development and coding and stuff. Whether you are, and here's the thing, like, you're not looking for a job specifically in those fields, right? Knowing about those fields and how things work in there, how to do some stuff, even if you're not the best, I think it is super important to, show that desire for technical things, right? So for instance, let's say you do like a full stack development course, right? I think the things that you're going to learn there is going to be essential. So I remember when I did the web development full stack course, right? And one of the parts of that course was authentication. So securing passwords, different type of hashes, the auth 0 where you can use like the single login where you can do that through like Google, Facebook, and have you set up all of that type of stuff, right? Database type stuff. So many different things that you can learn from like a web development course. And then like when I did the Python course, right? So many things from that too that's there to learn, and they all play together. And like for me, who is primarily in QA, learning all those things just opens my mind to help me think critically more, understanding React better. So when I'm testing like web elements or web UIs, I have a whole different mindset on how I'm approaching that testing. So the thing that I believe is important is that you just keep learning, right? That's the most important thing. You keep learning. I would say and DJ, send me an email and I can recommend some specific courses. They're not necessarily cloud security. I can look into some cloud security ones if you want to be to focus on that. But I would always recommend like even as like whether you're QA, whether you're cloud security, whatever, basic web development type courses, Python courses. Python is a little easier to get started in. So if you just want to learn about like coding languages, Python's a little easier. So I'd say definitely like take some of those courses. If it's somebody going into QA for automation, then I'd say some either Selenium with Python or Selenium with Java. But yeah, so that those are my recommendations for some courses that I would go with. Not necessarily. For me, like the boot camps, they're just, to me at least, they're so expensive that I always say like you can do a boot camp if you want it at some point, but I would say always start like trying to learn on your own and don't rely or depend on anybody else, right? And then now if you need that extra assistance, then we can pivot from there, but always try to start learning on your own because that shows initiative, and you like that feeling that you get when you figure something out. It's so much better than somebody holding your hand, walking your way through it. Like I'd rather be up to like 2:00 in the morning trying to figure something out than someone just giving me the answer. And I know that you like I'm pretty sure that so many other people feel that way too. So it's just so much better that way, right? So awesome question as always. All right, cool. So I'll be looking for your email, DJ. So let's move on to the next question. All right.
Another one.
So this one is interesting. Missed a major bug. Missed a major bug this week. Beat myself up a bit for it, to be honest. However, I know why it was missed and I have altered our process so it doesn't happen again. I took responsibility for it and explained to the stakeholders why it was missed and outlined the process change. The majority of the stakeholders accepted this and were pleased at my approach after the event. However, two people in the meeting were so problem focused and fixated on blame, it kind of shocked me. One of them even said, I expect bug-free software if we have a QA team. Can you believe? Anyways, sorry for venting here, but it's nice just to share experiences, good or bad, with like-minded people. That is an amazing. All right, let's start a timer, right? So I'm going to tell you this. Every single QA engineer has missed a major bug. If not, they haven't been doing it long enough, right? Bugs happen all the time, and especially this, right? Let's say you're new to a company and you're not exactly sure how things work yet. You're gonna miss bugs, right? It's inevitable, but it really matters how you handle it. And as you said, right, you altered the process, you adjusted the process so it doesn't happen again. And guess what? Even with you altering the process that it doesn't happen again, so you might prevent this particular bug from happening again, but there's gonna be other bugs that creep in, and it is just gonna be what it is, right? You like, if good guy was in the chat, I'm sure he knows what I'm talking about, right? Like, bugs happen, it's inevitable, but that's part of the software development lifecycle, and especially in Agile, right? It's so common for bugs to happen in Agile because we have faster release cycles, faster iterations, but as well, when the bug happens, we're able to fix them faster as well, right? So I wouldn't beat yourself up over a missed bug. I mean, I'm gonna say like I wouldn't, but I'll probably beat myself up a little as well, because we're human. We don't like to make mistakes, right? We as QA, we expect perfection, although we know it's not possible, right? It is what it is. But but I wouldn't beat myself up too much. The most important thing I'm gonna say that you did was the most important thing that you did, you took responsibility for it, and you explained what happened, and you outlined the process change, right? The second most important thing is that you actually did adjust the process so you can help prevent that from happening, or something similar to that from happening again, right? So that's very good initiative. Now, let's address the people who were fixated on the problem and on blame, right? So I would say this, right? In every company, you're going to find those type of people. They never tested a thing in their life. They're only focused on their little thing, and they were probably the ones who were most affected by that missed bug. So they're going to feel some type of way about it, right? I'll share a personal story with you. When I was at 3 companies ago, right? And I had just started, and it had to be a few months, right? And I just got brought into the project, and I'm not too familiar with how the software that we're testing works. So like I was kind of leaning heavy on the developers for guidance at the time on like, okay, how does this thing work? It was like very API based, right? It was like you'd do an API call, and then it would return you a URL, and then you would go to that URL, right? So at the time, I'm pretty new to API testing, right? So on like API versions and like changing versions, like so I'm like, all right, so the developer changes the like, and to be honest, like the way that the software was built, it wasn't really built well for versioning, right? But although I had tons of experience in QA, I was more, I had a lot of, I was doing more automation at the time, and I wasn't very well versed in APIs at the time, right? And so now the developers, like they change, they make a change in the version, which affects the database, right? And so now I go and I test it, and it works as it should, right? But here was the problem. What about the what was using the older version, like existing links using the older version of the application, right? I didn't have that in mind at the time, right? So now when the existing URLs are accessed, it's broken, right? So we have thousands of links out there that when the end users try to access it, they can't. They're getting to a broken page. Now what? So we were able to. So the customer service or the client success manager, whatever they call them, right? One of them, he comes to me, he's like, "Oh, this is happening, da 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 da," and I'm like, "Okay, let me look into it," and and we're trying to figure it out. And okay, we said, okay, so this is what happened. The version changed and everything like that. We're gonna have to roll it back. And he says to me, and he says to me, oh, what's even the purpose of QA if you're not gonna catch bugs? And I was like, wow, okay, excuse me, you know. But he would like, I understand he was frustrated, and so I was like, I just brushed it off. I'm like, all right, cool, because he walked away. I'm like, all right, whatever. We're gonna fix the issue, and we're gonna keep going from there. And guess what? I survived at the company for years further, right? And that was a learning experience on how to better test, and working with APIs, and working with different people, right? Different personalities. So and guess what? Like, me and him, we became like really good friends. I ended up building great relationships with with all of the customer success managers, right? So so I would say use it as an opportunity. Everything that you perceive to be bad, there is a great opportunity behind it for you to get better. All right. So don't let that discourage you. You're gonna see that person who said that, they were probably just upset. They were blowing off steam, and there's no such thing as bug-free software. As much as we would like it to be, there's always gonna be a bug that's gonna creep in, and we're gonna fix it. We're gonna squash it, right? And you're probably going to end up being like great friends with that person, because they're going to be, as you get better, you're going to rely on you more and more, and you're going to help them, and they're going to trust you, and that way when you do make a mistake, they're going to have more grace and more confidence in you. So don't let it get to you. Keep pushing, keep learning, keep getting better. Great job for improving that process. So shout out to you for that amazing work. Righty. So let's move on. Cheers.
Another one.
So this one says, AI and software testing. Hi, I'm just trying to make up my mind about the upcoming wave of requests to test AI solutions, mostly driven by, in my perception, ridiculous claims and blurbs on marketing pages and flyers from consultancies specialized on software testing. The basic claim goes like this. Oh, this is all so brand new and next to alchemy or magic, and you need to hire us or else your company will burn down. We are the only specialist in testing AI. Honestly, I have limited knowledge about the actual interiors of AI, but in essence and very simplified, it is a system that trains itself based on input data, reference data, and criteria defining the goal. What algorithm exactly is forming inside is unknown, and on most systems not even readable in a classic programming language sense. So, what is there to actually test in a classic sense? Very output matches expectations. Isn't that just part of the training procedure? Is this not part of setting up the AI, and is this a good idea to let testers do it? It's more like governance. Verifying that the AI results is not biased, violating rules, etc. So less a classic software testing or functional testing, but more mathematical and statistical analysis if results are correct in context of realistic. So what boggles my mind is the kind of philosophical question, does AI testing even exist? What is it? What could it be and what not? What skills do we need? And then they edit this to say, as I may have not been as clear as I thought, I don't talk about using AI to test something else, but testing in AI as part of a solution. Oh my goodness, to come up with an example, I have to deal with logistics sometimes, and optimal tour planning is a nightmare. Packing trucks, load volume, load weight, demand forecast, traffic situations, weather and road conditions, even the driver's holiday and schedules and their licenses, who can ride what truck, etc., influence it. So, more and more companies offer systems that promise you to do AI generated logistics. You hook up to a magic box, aka their product, into your ERP, your web shop, the driver's HR data, truck status from the garage, and all the other sources of data, and somehow the AI box miraculously provides a perfect tour planning. Or does it? Does it? How do you test the results? Complete predefined rule set. You don't have an algorithm. You don't even have code, but you have millions of possible combinations of input data that you can't all just run in a traditional testing. Whew, that was a mouthful. I think I need another drink. All right, so let's simplify. Let's simplify the question. How do you test AI-based solutions? All right. So I think that question is similar to how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So the problem with this question, right, is you're asking from outside of the situation, right, on how this is done. So, and my answer is also going to be from outside the situation, how this is done, because I do not work for a company that built AI and how it's used to test it, right? I don't know much about the whole logistics thing that you're referring to and how all of that gets implemented. Maybe one day we can do a software exploration on it to see how it all works, and so that would be fun. But I'm going to give a general answer about the traditional software development lifecycle and how that works, right? The way that I would say that it works, there's going to be a lot of unit testing. Every component that is reaching out, and maybe I can do some more research on like how AI works in general, right? But I would say that it's calling a bunch of so let's take GTP for example, right? You type something in, and it goes and it researches into all the connections that it has and to provide you an answer. So as the software development team that's building ChatGTP, I would assume that it's being routed to sources, right, of information. However that routing happens, because so let's say for instance, it's using like Google or Bing or whatever, right, to navigate how it finds data. It's just like, picture it like this, right? So if a human is ChatGTP, right, and so let's say I'm ChatGTP, right, and you ask me, I need you to write this resume objective for me, right? And now I'm going to go on Google and I'm going to search, all right, I need to find out how to write an impressive resume objective. And then I'm going to get a bunch of answers, and I'm gonna get a bunch of answers, and then I'm going to like review those answers, and I'm gonna see, okay, what are the, compared to some type of algorithm to say, okay, what can I combine to give me the best possible answer? So I'm going to go back to when I was in high school, right? Hopefully Mr. Harrell is not listening to this, but what I used to do for a while is I would I would find articles online and different essays and stuff like that, and I'd copy and paste them into Word. And at the time, Word had an auto summarize feature, that I would. This is back in like 2000 to 2002, right? Using the auto summarize feature, and it would summarize all this content that I was getting from the internet, and then I would go in there and I would rewrite I'd rewrite it into my own words, but it did majority of the writing for me, and then I'll put in the format for an essay and stuff like that. Now, that was how I was able to get through my high school English class, right? So what I'm saying is the point of that is it's like ChatGPT is just much more powerful, and it's sourcing very quickly as well from tons and tons of resources. But when you're building it, like it's just at the end of the day, everything is powered by code, right? And the code, like you said, it's being trained and stuff like that, but it's being fed where it be trained. How does it work? So that's what you're actually testing. You're testing the implementation. It's not like you're going to be able to test every single outlet, but there's logic behind it, and all logic can be tested. All right. So I mean that's how I would see that. It is what it is. So, and I didn't even set the timer for this one, but it is what it is. We are done with that one. So shout out to that question.
Another one.
All right, so this one says, is overqualification a real thing? All right. Hello, fellow software testers. I recently went through an interview. I recently went through an interesting experience while applying for a new job and wanted to get your thoughts on it. So I've been working as a test automation engineer for the past year and a half and came across a project that I was genuinely interested in. They advertised for mobile testing, junior QA role knowledge, and while I didn't have much hands-on experience in that area, they mentioned that theoretical knowledge would be enough. I had a successful interview where I confidently answered most of the software testing related questions they asked. However, the next day, they told me that they believed I was overqualified for the role and that they didn't have a position for me at the moment. They did mention that they might have something for me in a few months and how impressed they were with my professionalism. To be honest, I found this reasoning a bit unclear. I genuinely wanted the job because of my interest in the industry, and I was more than willing to start with a manual testing, even though I continue to learn test automation in my free time. Picking up on Playwright, initially worked with Cypress. Could this be a valid reason, or do you think it was just an excuse because they didn't like me? I'm contemplating on replying to them, stating that I'm okay with a downgrade in terms of job responsibilities and that my main focus is on gaining product knowledge and valuable experience within the industry I'm passionate about. What do you guys think? Have you ever encountered situations like this before? Any advice or insight would be greatly appreciated. Thank you in advance. All right, great question. So, overqualification is certainly a real thing. Why is overqualification a real thing, right? The problem that happens when you're overqualified for a position is one of the most expensive things for companies to do is hire people. It is super expensive, super long process. And why is hiring so expensive, right? Let's start the clock. We're not going to have that happen again. So why is hiring so expensive? So great that you ask. Hiring is so expensive because the time that it takes for either managers or recruiters to go through resumes, to call people, to do interviews, all that stuff, that is super expensive. It's super time consuming. So for instance, right, when if I have to do if I have to like review a technical project, right? That might take me about 30 minutes to an hour. So that's time away from work that I could be contributing to the software that we're developing. So now, if I think that your technical project meets our level, meets our criteria, then we have to schedule an interview, right? So let's say there's a recruiter, right? We'll start from the beginning. Let's say there's a recruiter. The recruiter reaches out to you, right? And you guys talk for like half an hour, and you want to move forward. So that's half an hour of the recruiter's time, in addition to the time that the recruiter spent reviewing your resume and everything like that, right? So now, so you want to move on to the next step, right? So let's say you speak to the hiring manager, right? So that's time from the hiring manager, who also reviews your resume, who spends maybe 30 minutes to an hour with you, talking to you and everything like that. So let's say now they like you move on to the technical project. If there's a technical project, some companies don't do that. Some companies, it's more of a question base, but whatever it might be, right? So let's say there is a technical project. So now you send that to you send that back to the company, and now someone like me, I might be reviewing it. So I spend like 30 minutes to an hour reviewing your like grading your project, right? And let's say I give the thumbs up, right? So now you'd get an interview to go over that technical project and talk about it, so you can explain what happened. So that might be like another hour-long interview with maybe 1 to 3 people interviewing you, right? So that's taking so the time that it took to review the project, and the time that those 3 people are interviewing you. And if all goes well, maybe you go to the final interview or something like that, right? So it just, so now, let's say that for one position, that takes place for like 20 people, right? Because for some reason, like, people fell off in the process. So let's say it's someone that you really like, you go to extend the offer, but it took too long and they accepted another position, right? So now we have to start over again. So the reason for all of that is to show that if you are overqualified for a position and the company is looking for retention of employees, now after you get that experience and you're not happy with the salary or your responsibilities and you want to move up, right? Now you leave the company and they have to start all over at square one again. Right? It's not in the best interest of the company. It's not economically feasible. So because it's like you end up kind of like using that company for you're kind of using that company like just so for your learning experience, that you're going to take what you learned, that experience, and now you're going to say, well, I want more money. And it's like, well, we can't give you more money because this is what's in our budget. And when we hired you, this is what the agreement was. But look, like, there's no gun to your head that's forcing you to stay. So now when the next company offers you more money, because now that you want more money, you're applying to go to different places, you get offered more money and you go. Now that company who took a chance on you because you said that you're okay with getting a lesser role, with getting less money, all of that, they're starting over from ground one, and they have to retrain all over again, go through the same process. So companies look for retention. They're not like, and that's the problem with overqualification. And it's the same. Well, if you're overqualified, what happens when you get bored in your position and you want to do something else, right? So that's why overqualification is a real thing. It's nothing personal. It's what's in the best interest of the company. The same way I always say you should do what's in your best interest as well, right? And I'll tell you this, like, there was like the same job that I was talking about 2 jobs ago. When they posted their position, they were looking for someone at a lower level than I was, but in their goals for the QA for the QA team, I just happened to meet those goals. So in that way, they were able to bump the position up higher in order to bring me on. But that's because they were already planning on to transition that way. I just happened to come along sooner, and that's how I got that position. But if they were they were set in stone that they were going to go at that lower position, then I wouldn't have been able to land that job, right? And because I would have been overqualified. So just putting it out there, overqualification is a real thing. Apply for, and if you want to take a lesser job, then you're going to have to lessen the way that you portray yourself. But I would say don't go down. Like, go for learn on your own, and go for the higher jobs and get more money, get more experience, level up. We don't back down. We just keep winning, because all we do is win. All right. So let's go from there. All right, let's pull up the next question. We are almost done for the night as well.
Another one.
All right, so this one says, test end to end. So when testing end to end, do you create data before each test and then delete it, or do you use data that is already created? All right, so simple question, straight to the point, just like I like it. All right, so timer up. Let's go. So when creating, so the best way to do it, honestly, is to create it for each test, right? But it ultimately depends on which environment you're in, right? So if you're testing stuff in production, you are not going to be flooding production with new data every single day. You want to keep your production environment as clean as possible, right? In the lab, when you're working in like a development branch, a local branch, or environment, you can have the data kind of messy in there, but you want to, I would say, you create the data that you need for that particular test, and you get rid of it. If you can, right? Whether it's like let's say you do a weekly database cleanse, right? Refresh, that'll work. Or like, let's say you're doing API tests, right? And let's say you create your data via API. So you post it, it gets created. Let's say you update it, right? And then you do a GET request to read the data, and then you do a delete request. So you're deleting it, and that way you're pretty much testing all of the functionality of the API, if it exists. If not, like you can connect to the database to delete the data, whatever it is, right? But it is way better to have your test have your test data standalone. So test data per test, right? And you can easily do that through, let's say you're doing automation, you can do that through data providers using TestNG if you're doing Java. So many ways to do it, but you want to have test data. You want to have test data for each test. You don't want to reuse test data, because what happens is when you reuse data, it starts to clash with each other. So let's say you have a test which is expecting a name to be Ralph, for instance, right? And but you update it to you update the in one of your tests, you update the name to say something like Jeremy, right? So now when your test is looking for Ralph and it can't find it because you changed it, now you run into problems. So it is good practice to have your test data to be separated for each test. Right. So, and like I mentioned with the data provider, so it can run the same test over and over and over again. But let's say you have you have different rows in an Excel file or a Google Sheet, which is something that I created that was pretty cool a few years ago, where we integrated a Google Sheet into a automation project where that served as a data provider. So you can just go in and you add more data to the Google Sheet, or you can delete data, or you can modify data. And when the test runs, it pulls it from there, and it would execute the test that way. So every single time creating new test data. And I would say that is the best way to approach it, because you don't mismatch data. Everything is unique, and you can like create unique username, unique user IDs, all that stuff, right? Because there's different ways to code it to do that. But you never want to share data in like, especially in development environments, because they're development environments. There's no data that's gonna be like required to stay there. Now, like I said earlier, if you're doing it in production, you definitely want to you don't want to flood production with crappy data, right? With junk data, because you need to keep it clean, right? That is your presentation, and you don't want bad data over there. So that's how I would approach that. In development environments, create new data every single time. In production environments, and you don't want to test in production all the time. Like I take that back. Like, you do want to test in production, but you don't want to test the full suite of tests that you test in your lower environments all the time. What you want to do is you want to have your test in production be like very limited to very core features that's not going to be creating new data in production. So because you want to have your lower environments mirroring your production environment, so that you don't need to create new data in production all the time. Maybe once in a while if necessary, but keep your production environment clean. Existing test data for production, new test data that you delete in our lower environments, our development environments, or our staging environments. All right. So great question. Very, very good. And we are at our last question. All right.
Another one.
This one says 10 years of Q. No. I got to get my iPad working again. But let's start that over, right? So
Another one.
all right, so this one says 10 years of manual QA experience, just laid off. Want to add automation to my skills. So it says, I'm a QA with 10 years of work experience in manual with multiple attempts at teams trying to start automation, as well as being part of the team to try building a framework. I also have a master's degree in information technology management. And while I say it again, next paragraph, I also stick mostly to startups or small 200 or less companies because I just don't do well with tons of people. So I was laid off from my job on Friday. I was really fortunate to have it. I was really fortunate to have had it, and I learned a lot more than I already had. But the one thing I've never had a company support me in picking up was automation. And with my experience, I'm looking for something to bring back to the job. Of course, I also don't like working for companies with more than 200 people, so I stick to startups. But generally, while I'm looking for my next job, I'm also looking to use the package they gave us. I'm also looking to use the package they gave me to learn automation so I can join a team who actually wants to build their automation out and have it done the right way. Or at least I'm in the right position to know how to provide support to an existing team. I've been told so many different things about what tool is best, what language is best to write in, and how to best learn. And it always seemed like the strategies they used were wrong fundamentally. I read through the pin starting in automation, but again, it was a automation and not a lot of it targeted really to me, it felt like. But it did point out a common problem that I've seen when companies try to build automation teams. Too many companies want to get an automation team member, but then not teach them the inner workings of how the project is meant to work. Instead, they put the automation guy to work building their framework, and then they try to make it ID 10T error proof for their QA team. What the hell are you talking about? Instead of trying to teach them how it works from the base level. So I guess this poses a few things. First, the question of how does automation need to be approached? I always felt that you want to take a QA who knows their way around the system, front and back end, with enough knowledge that they can easily create automation to run across the different workflows and scenarios. This makes it so they would have the knowledge as well as a rapport with their team to know how to either find something themselves or quickly have a resource who can tell them how to find it or where to look. Is this not something that happens? What tool is actually the easiest to learn, use, configure, and work with while also being robust enough that it can be used most front and back end systems? I hear Selenium is industry standard, but that doesn't mean it's actually approachable. It just means it's popular. Nope, that's not the one I wanted. This is the one I wanted. Because that's how I'm starting to feel reading this, right? I just wanted to know what people in my situation actually used. I used Renorex when I initially started trying to learn back in my first job. Then I learned to type Rainforest QA cases, which was just outsourced testing. And at my most recent job, their automation guy made a framework of like 4 different programs, all that all joined in VS Code, and it included like Selenium as a base with 2 or 3 other code bases that make it robust or something. He was unfortunately laid off last year, so that project stopped mattering, but we made some effort anyway. All right, hold on one second. So some commentary. This post is a lot of mumbo jumbo and totally focused on the wrong thing because, hey, you're unemployed right now, so you have bigger problems to worry about. All right, back to the question. What language do I need to learn basics for to accompany that tool? I hear JavaScript is really common and pretty effective, and I started learning the basics of it specifically to automation, but was told it wasn't a priority anymore, so had to stop. So what kind of information can my fellow QA impart to help a friend improve? Okay. Whew. That was something, all right? So I'm going to put the clock up on this one, and this is going to be our last question for the night. But here is my issue with this particular question, right? It is so much talking about things that you don't know anything about, right? To start off, right, this person says that they have 10 years of manual QA experience and that they want to add automation to their skill set. So how do they have so much of an opinion on automation? That doesn't really make much sense to me, right? It's like so opinionated on something that you're not familiar with. And I don't know, that doesn't make much sense, right? So, but I guess because they have a master's degree in information technology management, that gives them the right to have that opinion. And here is a message to everyone out there, right? If you're looking to grow, you're looking to expand, you're looking to land a position, like let's say you want to learn automation, but you're you're picky about only working for startups. Maybe because you only work for startups, it didn't give you the opportunity to grow like you want to grow, right? But because you don't do well with tons of people, sorry, if you don't do well with tons of people, then QA is not for you, because you are always talking and communicating with, right? Talking to developers. You're talking to your product, your product owner. You're talking to your scrum master, talking to different stakeholders. You're presenting in sprint reviews. You're articulating yourself. You're being active in all the different scrum meetings, right? So not being well with tons of people, but you don't necessarily interact with all these people in the company in the first place, right? So it doesn't make any sense, right? So now this person says they're laid off from their job recently. But then they're like so opinionated on all these automation flows and everything like that, when you admit that you didn't work in automation, right? So here, another problem with this, right, is you want to join a company who's going to build their automation out the right way. You don't know what the right way is, and the biggest problem that I have with this question and these type of questions, right, is you expect your company to do it for you. No. The company does not owe you anything. They hired you to do a job, and if you can do it, okay, you're working for them. If not, then if they choose to to save money and to retention, then they can teach you how to do it, but they're not required to. So when we go around saying, oh, my company didn't teach me this, my company didn't teach me that, it's not their job to teach you. What they're required to teach you is like the ins and outs of their particular software and operations, but to do your general job, your basic job, it's not their requirement. For you to level up, it's not their requirement. You should have been working the past 10 years to improving your skills in all aspects of QA and career-wise, right? You shouldn't be sitting around waiting for you shouldn't be sitting around waiting for your company to train you, right? Should have been learning automation a long time ago. I honestly don't understand people who do testing, who sit around, like, what are you doing for all these years where you just go in, you do manual testing, and then you go home? And then when they outsource your position, you get upset because they got someone who does the same exact thing for a lot cheaper. Right? What value are you bringing? That critical thinking, those critical thinking skills is like the most valuable thing that you can bring to an organization as a QA engineer. Because you see outside the box, you're able to navigate working with giving the developers other ideas, pointing out flaws in some of the in certain aspects, so that we can catch this before we actually go to production. All right, so let's keep going a little bit, right? So I've been told so many different things about what tool is best, what language is best, and how to best learn it. And it always seemed that the strategies they used were wrong. How do you know? It's like me, right? And this is why I am very again, shout out to the test lead. He, like, from talking to him, he seemed very nice, very patient. I am not that patient with people, right? If you ask me for something that I'm an expert in, you ask me for advice, and I tell you, and then you want to debate me when you don't know anything about it, I am not going to debate you. I am just going to walk away, because it is not worth, it's not worth my time, because I have people who are looking to be helped, tons and tons of things to do, and I'm not going to argue with you on something you don't know anything about, right? So for you to say that their strategies were wrong, when if they have the experience, did you even try those strategies? Like, how far did you get into, right? So you're looking at starting in automation, and it's a lot of information. Okay, I don't have the book next to me, right? But books have lots of information. And this is the issue that I have, right? So this person says that they have a master's degree in information management system. You went, what, 6 years of college? That's tons and tons of information. But you can't read a single post about getting started in automation and like figure that out. Like, and you see, and this is the reason that I take degrees and all that type of education stuff with a grain of salt. Your degrees are cool, but they have less weight until we actually talk and you actually can articulate yourself and express yourself, right? These are the type of victim Olympic posts that drive me crazy, right? So it's a lot of information, right? And it's not really targeted to you, right? So it's like, so now a general post is supposed to help everyone, right? It's like saying, right, this stream is not targeted specifically to you, so you can't get anything out of it. No, like, you have to learn from everyone and everything you encounter. Like, I'll give you an example, right? I'm gonna read your message shortly, Melissa, but I want to use you as an example. She's learning web development and using different resources, like the course that she's taking, searching online, trial and error, everything. Like, it's not just like, I'm just gonna sit and wait. I'm gonna sit and wait and have it done for me. No. And this is the thing, right? You have to go out there and research. You have to go through trial and error to figure things out. It's not just going to be handed to you, right? And so then now, and this post is like kind of all over the brain. It's kind of scatterbrained, right? So now it's like, too many companies want to get an automation team member, but not teach them the inner workings of how the project is meant to work. So I'll tell you this. Every company that, like, when I go to a company, right, I don't know, when I get hired there, I don't know the inner workings of all the things, but they have test cases that I can review, and I can start executing those test cases to get an understanding of how things work. If they're properly documented, you're going to understand, and then I can start automating it to get familiar with their code base, all that stuff, right? And then as I continue working on it, continue to learn about it, I revise my automation, I enhance it. So you don't need to like hire somebody as a manual tester and then teach them how to do automation. No. You can definitely teach, like, if you do that, that's cool, but you can hire people, like, if you want to move faster along, hire people who know how to do automation already, and then they'll, like, if they're good at their job, they will learn the system and go from there. See, instead of trying to teach them how it works from the base level, you don't have to go to ground zero, like start from the very beginning. Especially you're gonna learn, like in Agile, you're gonna learn like the prior things as they come up, but you don't need to learn all the ins and outs of everything before you get started. You join the team and it's like you iterate on yourself as well, right? So it doesn't like. Jesus. All right. So the question of how does automation need to be approached? Well, you already rejected the general advice that the subreddit was giving you. So how does automation need to be approached? You sign up for a course, right? Whether you're going to a boot camp or you do a Udemy course, sign up for a course and you follow the instructions, you follow the directions. And if you have questions, you come in and you post it in the Discord, or you post it in the whatever resource that the course has, or you come here to the live stream and you ask Tech Coach Ralph and he will give you an answer. But the most important thing in anything that you ever do is to stop talking about it and start doing it. Take the first step. All right. The first step is crucial, because once you take that first step, you can see where you need to adjust, where you need to pivot, and you go from there. But you don't just you don't have that analysis paralysis, right? You get started. Simple as that. You get started, and then you go from there. You start writing something. You start doing something. follow the guides on getting your first automation done. Write the most basic automation test, and then you learn from there and you iterate on that. But just reading about it and everything is not going to get you anywhere. All right. Let's see. What tool is so? So this is the part that right. What tool is actually the easiest to learn, use, configure, and work with, while also being robust enough that it can be used with most front end and back end systems? You're not even at that level yet, right? So I always like Selenium is the most common tool, right? And this is the cool part, right? I hear Selenium is industry standard, but it doesn't mean it's actually approachable. Well, maybe you should like if you are unemployed, right? And this is the part. If you're unemployed, right? Why not learn the industry standard to get hired doing that? You don't have any automation experience, so you're not going to get hired for some fancy automation role, right? So you need to use your 10 years of QA experience with your master's degree in information technology management. Use that to learn, like to make you more marketable to every company out there. Because with 10 years of experience, you're going to get a lot more traction than somebody who's just getting started, right? But learn Selenium, even if you don't feel it's the most approachable, whatever that means, right? It just means it's popular. So what? Go with what's popular and get a job, right? But you don't even know, like, anyways, whatever. I'm not gonna go in on that part. But it's just this like the posts like this, they just frustrate me, right? I want to know what people in my situation actually use. When you say people in your situation, do you mean people who are unemployed and they don't have any like they got laid off and they don't have any automation experience? Well, they go for the industry standard and then they start to learn. And they go from there. Like when I was unemployed, right? I already knew how to automate, but I got better at it. I learned how to do it in a different language. I learned how to do it in Python. I built frameworks. I did a bunch of work to get myself better, but I didn't sit around and like say, oh, well, what other people, if I was employed, this is what I would do. No, I went and I did the work that I had to do. All right. And most of my recent job, the automation guy made frameworks. Sounds like he did a great job. He was laid off, so it stopped working. What language do I need to learn basics to accompany that tool? I don't know. So the tool is Selenium. Learn Java or Python. You heard JavaScript is really common and pretty effective. And I started, and this one is more practical. What I'll say about JavaScript is a lot of companies are using Cypress, but I still see the mostly in demand is for Selenium. So I would always start off with Selenium, but I have it on my list to learn Cypress, make myself more marketable. I have it on my list to learn Playwright, which is going to be a live stream coming soon, right? So always make yourself more marketable. That's a fact, right? Yeah. Yep, that's it. Whatever. That's that question. I've had enough of that question. I don't want to harp on it too much. So that was that question. All right. So before we wrap up for tonight, we have our dear good friend Melissa in the chat. Says, what is the difference between quality assurance and software testing? There's not really a difference. So I'll put it like this. Quality assurance is the whole overall division of, and software testing is a part of it, right? So they're almost the same thing, but I say quality assurance is the whole overall encompassing, because as part of quality assurance, we're like creating our test plan, writing our test cases, doing our test executions, reporting bugs, reporting defects. But the actual, so we can say like the verb, the action is software testing, but the noun, the whole body is quality assurance. Software testing falls under quality assurance. All right. So hopefully that answered that question, but all of that. So like software testing can be like part of the actual execution maybe, but the whole thing falls under software testing. So hopefully that answers your question, Melissa. Great to see you here. Next time I am live, I am definitely going to have my soundboard working the way that I want it to work. And I am going to have my messages showing up on the screen because this is egregious. Back for the first time, and we are super struggle streaming, so we do not like that. As QA, we want things to work. And when our software doesn't work, that makes Tech Coach Ralph an unhappy tech coach. So, hope you guys had fun struggling along with me. It will definitely be better next time. But, my dear friends and family, this has been another
one
episode of Q&A sessions live, and we will see you next time. But wait, before we go, if you have not done so yet, please like the video, share the video with somebody who will find it useful, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bells for every time we go live so you can interact with me and we can have some fun. And so coming up Thursday, we are going to do software explorations. We're going to be going over defects and a little bit of test executions. So we're going to be like using our Kiwi test case management system so we can create some defects. And we will probably touch on the test executions. Tomorrow we have our test executions video coming out. I have to go actually finish editing that to make that available for you tomorrow. But definitely look out for that because that is going to go hand in hand with our live stream on Thursday. All right. So once again, this is Tech Coach Ralph signing off. Thank you for being here with me. But until next time, my dear friends and family.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Hear me, warriors of the North. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes indeed defeated, and their lands are now bow before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination, these are the very essence of our people. It's been of our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla. For today, we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the present pain the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. As we celebrate this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles call us forth, and the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow, we set our sights on new horizons, a charted land where our banners will fly high. We are Vikings, we're barbarians, we are masters of conquest.
Another one.
I appreciate you. We the best.